The last photo. Chapter 1. The camera from nowhere. The late afternoon sun bathed the street market in a warm, golden hue. Stalls buzzed with life, spices filled the air with their sharp aromas, children laughed near a puppet show, and tourists roamed with their phones out, capturing everything. Among them walked Maya, a 17-year-old girl with curious eyes and a love for vintage treasures. Maya wasn't looking for anything in particular. She enjoyed strolling through the weekend bazaar, collecting old books, worn-out records, or forgotten trinkets. That day, she wandered a little deeper into the older part of the market, a place where most people didn't go. It was quieter here. The stalls were fewer, the noise almost absent, and the air heavier. That's when she saw it. A small, crooked wooden stall sat in the corner under a torn umbrella. Its surface was dusty, cluttered with random objects, rusty watches, broken spectacles, faded postcards, and at the center, an old film camera. It was unlike any she had ever seen, black with silver linings, a strange emblem on its side that looked like a crescent moon cradling an eye. It had a strange allure, like it was calling to her. Maya picked it up gently. It felt heavier than it looked. Cold. Almost alive. Before she could speak, the vendor, an old man in a dark coat, appeared from behind the stall. His skin was pale, and his eyes, oddly gray, watched her with an unreadable expression. "That one," he said softly, "chooses its owner." Maya chuckled nervously. "Is it for sale?" The man nodded. "It is. But no returns. Once it's yours, it stays yours." That sounded odd, but she shrugged it off. She had always loved collecting strange things, and this camera felt special. She paid the small amount he asked, tucked the camera into her backpack, and looked up to thank him. But the vendor was already gone. Completely gone. As if he had never been there. Chilled but curious, Maya turned and walked back through the crowded market, unaware that with every step, something old, and watching, had just awakened. Chapter 2. The First Clicks. Back home, Maya sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, the antique camera resting in her lap like a sleeping beast. Her room was her safe haven, lined with bookshelves, Polaroid frames, fairy lights, and vintage movie posters. Yet, as she held the camera, the cozy walls seemed to press in slightly, the air just a bit colder. She examined the camera closely. It was in surprisingly good condition. No dust inside the lens, no scratches on the body, and oddly, there was already a roll of film loaded. "Strange," she muttered. "Maybe someone forgot to remove it." Still, curiosity overtook caution. She decided to try it out. The camera had no digital screen, no buttons except for the shutter and a winding lever on the side. It felt satisfyingly mechanical. She stepped outside into her backyard, where her dog Zuko barked at butterflies, and the wind rustled through the mango tree. She clicked a photo of Zuko chasing his tail, one of the sky painted with golden clouds, and another of her garden's old swing swaying gently. Click. Whir. Click. Whir. The camera made a deep, mechanical sound with each shot. No glitches. No issues. Just that strange emblem on its side, almost glowing under the evening sun. That night, unable to contain her excitement, she drove to the only local photo studio that still developed film. The elderly studio owner, Mr. Shankar, smiled as she handed over the roll. "Haven't seen one of these cameras in decades. Where'd you find it? Maya grinned. Street market. Some antique stall. He nodded, taking the roll carefully. Come back tomorrow. The next day, Maya returned. Mr. Shankar handed her a small envelope with the photos and an unreadable look on his face. Your camera is an odd one. She opened the envelope in the car, flipping through the glossy prints. The first few were perfect: Zuko mid-jump, the glowing sky, her mother's rose plants. But then, on the fourth photo, the one she had taken of the old swing, her hand froze. In the far background, near the edge of the garden wall, was a dark shape. A figure. Not quite human. Tall, too thin, and blurred like a smudge. It stood still, almost hidden in the shadow of the tree. No face. No features. Just watching. Maya blinked. Her heart thudded. She remembered the moment clearly. No one had been there. No one could have stood in that spot without being noticed. She stared harder. The figure wasn't just standing there. It was angled toward the camera. Toward her. Chapter 3, Closer. Maya stared at the photo again, hoping her eyes were playing tricks. She flipped through the rest of the pictures with trembling fingers. The fifth photo was of her garden gnome, silly, harmless. The sixth, a shot of the sky again. But the seventh photo was of the garden swing, just like before, but now the shadowy figure had moved. Closer. It was still blurry, still faceless, but unmistakably nearer to the camera. Where before it had lingered in the background, half hidden, now it stood in the middle of the garden path, head tilted slightly, as if examining her through the lens. A cold shiver ran down Maya's spine. She hadn't seen anyone there when she took the photos. There had been no footsteps, no noises, no signs of movement. Zuko, her playful dog, would have barked if someone had been nearby. She checked the timestamp on the photo sleeves. All the shots were taken within a span of 15 minutes. The same evening. The same light. No way anyone had slipped in and out of her yard without being seen. She rubbed her arms. The air around her suddenly felt too quiet. That night, sleep didn't come easily. She lay in bed with the photos spread beside her, her lamp dimmed low. The figure haunted her mind, tall, dark, and strangely drawn to the camera. She picked up the camera again, tracing its strange emblem with her thumb. For the first time, she noticed something peculiar. The emblem looked different now. The crescent moon was the same, but the eye within it seemed wider, more open. She didn't remember it being like that. Probably my imagination, she whispered. Just then, a soft click echoed in the silence. She froze. It had come from her desk, the camera. But she hadn't touched it. She was sure. She got up slowly and walked over. The shutter was slightly pressed, as if it had just taken a picture. With shaking hands, she opened the back of the camera. The film roll had advanced on its own. Someone, or something, had taken a photo. She stood in silence, staring at the camera as her heart pounded against her ribs. The room felt heavier now. Her reflection in the mirror looked pale. The night no longer felt safe. The next morning, she rushed to the studio to get the new roll developed. Mr. Shankar raised an eyebrow. You finished a roll already? She forced a smile. Just experimenting. An hour later, she opened the second envelope. Only one photo was inside. It was of her room, taken from her desk. And in the mirror behind her, barely visible, was the shadow. This time, standing right behind her. Chapter 4, Night Whispers. That night, Maya didn't turn off the lights. She sat on her bed, the photo in her hand, her fingers trembling. The image was burned into her mind, the mirror in the background, her unaware expression in the foreground, and behind her, a figure. Shadowy. Unmistakable. Closer than ever. She couldn't explain it to anyone. Her parents were away for the weekend on a business trip, and her friends wouldn't believe her, not unless they saw it. And even then, would they? Maya kept the camera locked in her cupboard, wrapped tightly in a scarf. She shoved the photo envelope into the drawer and sat in silence. The wind outside howled softly, rustling the trees. But the sound that kept her awake wasn't outside. It was inside. A whisper. Faint at first, like leaves brushing against glass. Then clearer. Softer. Right next to her ear. Maya. She sat bolt upright, her breath caught in her throat. Maya. She turned on every light in the room. Checked the windows. The doors. The mirror. Nothing. Then she heard it again. This time from inside the cupboard. Click. She stared in horror. The cupboard door was closed. The camera was inside. No one had touched it. Click. Whir. As if someone was using it. She grabbed the cupboard handle and yanked it open. The camera was no longer wrapped. It sat on the shelf, lens pointed directly at her. She didn't scream. She couldn't. Instead, she slammed the door shut and ran into the living room, her pulse racing. She called her best friend Tara, trying to sound calm. "Can I stay over at your place tonight?" Tara could hear the tension in her voice. "Of course. Everything okay?" "No. I'll tell you when I get there." Maya didn't bother packing much. She grabbed her phone, keys, and wallet, and left the house. As she stepped outside, she felt something cold brush past her shoulder, like a breath. She turned quickly, but no one was there. The street was empty. Silent. As she walked to Tara's, the whispers followed her. Faint. Just outside the edge of hearing. But always there. And one thing became terrifyingly clear. She hadn't brought the camera with her. But the shadow had followed. Chapter 5, The Shadow at the Window. Tara's house was warm and welcoming, a sharp contrast to the icy silence that had consumed Maya's. The scent of dinner floated through the air, and the sound of a sitcom played softly in the background. It should have comforted her. But it didn't. Tara gave her a tight hug. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Maya hesitated. "I think I have." They sat in Tara's room while Maya explained everything, the market, the camera, the photos, the shadow. Tara listened silently, occasionally shaking her head, clearly unsure what to believe. "You're saying this thing moves through photos?" Tara asked, brow furrowed. Yes. And now, it's not just in the photos anymore. It's whispering. It's following me. Maya's voice cracked. Tara, I didn't bring the camera, but I can still feel it. Tara, trying to calm her, placed a hand on her shoulder. We'll figure it out. Maybe it's a prank. Or stress. You've been alone lately, right? Maya didn't argue. But deep down, she knew it wasn't stress. It was real. Too real. That night, they both decided to sleep in Tara's room. Tara offered her the bed while she took a mattress on the floor. It was quiet at first, just the sound of cars in the distance and the occasional hoot of an owl. But around 2 a.m., Maya awoke suddenly. The room was colder than before. Not cool, cold. Like winter had slipped in through a crack in the wall. Her breath fogged slightly in the air. She turned to the window. And froze. A dark silhouette stood just outside the glass. Tall. Still. Watching. Her voice caught in her throat. Her body wouldn't move. The shadow had no face, but Maya could feel its gaze piercing through the window, through the glass, through her. Then, so slowly, it raised a hand. And pointed. Not at the house. At her. She scrambled back, nearly falling out of bed. Tara. Tara, wake up. Tara sat up groggily. What? What is it? Maya pointed at the window, her hands shaking violently. It's there. Look. But when Tara turned toward the window, it was gone. Nothing but the soft sway of the curtains. Tara rushed over and opened it wide. The backyard was empty. Maya, there's no one here. Maya backed into a corner, arms wrapped tightly around herself. It was there. I swear. Right there. Staring at me. Tara sighed, unsure what to believe. You need rest. Maybe this camera thing is just getting into your head. But Maya knew better. This thing, whatever it was no longer hiding behind lenses and film. It had crossed over. And now it knew where she slept. Chapter 6, The Vendor's Warning. The next morning, Maya was done waiting. She needed answers, and there was only one person who might have them. The vendor. She dragged Tara back to the market with her. The crowd was lively, oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. Maya's eyes scanned every stall, every corner, heart pounding with hope and dread. But the crooked stall was gone. In its place, a vendor selling wooden toys smiled at her. Maya's voice trembled. Excuse me, there was a man here last week. An old man with a stall, he sold antiques. Do you know where he went? The vendor's smile faded. No one's used that corner in years. There was a fire here some time ago, no one sets up there now. Bad luck, they say. Maya's breath caught. But I bought something from him. A camera. The vendor stepped back slightly, eyes narrowing. A camera? With a crescent and an eye on it? Yes. He grew quiet. You need to talk to Madame Lena. She knows the old stories. She runs the bookstore near the temple. Without another word, Maya and Tara rushed through the winding lanes until they found a small shop, Lena's Lore Books. The windows were dusty, the shelves stacked with rare, forgotten books. Inside, the air smelled of old paper and jasmine. Behind the counter sat a graceful old woman with silver hair and piercing eyes. She looked up as Maya entered, almost as if she had been expecting her. "You have the camera, don't you?" she asked gently. Maya froze. "How do you know?" "Because it always finds someone. Someone young. Curious. Alone." Tara stepped forward. "What is that thing?" Madame Lena sighed. "The camera was created over 100 years ago by a man obsessed with death. He believed that if you captured moments just right, you could trap pieces of the soul. He didn't build a camera. He built a prison. But one soul escaped, a shadow, forgotten, faceless. It lives in the lens now, hungry for presence, for form." Maya whispered, "Why me?" "Because you looked through the eye," Madame Lena said. "The moment you took that first photo, it saw you. It chose you." Maya's knees felt weak. "Can I get rid of it?" Lena's expression darkened. "You can't destroy it. But there may be a way to send the shadow back, where it belongs. But it won't be easy." "What do I have to do?" Maya asked. Lena looked directly into her eyes. "You must take one last photo. The right photo. And capture the shadow, completely." Maya swallowed hard. "And if I fail?" Lena didn't answer. But her silence was loud enough. Chapter 7, Through the Lens of Fear. Back at Tara's house, Maya placed the cursed camera on the floor between them. Even untouched, it gave off a strange energy, like something inside was quietly awake. Madame Lena's words echoed in her mind. "One last photo. The right one. Or it will never leave you." "But how do we know it's the right photo?" Tara asked nervously. "I think I have to catch it fully in the frame," Maya said. "Like trapping it. But it only appears when it wants to." "Then maybe it wants you to see it now," Tara said, her voice low. Maya didn't respond. She simply picked up the camera. The lens twitched slightly in her hands. They waited for midnight. At 11:55 p.m., Maya placed a single chair in the middle of the room and set up the camera facing it. A soft lamp lit the corner, casting long shadows. Tara sat quietly near the bed, eyes locked on the chair. Maya held the camera. Her hands trembled. She focused. And waited. The minute hand ticked closer to 12. And the air grew colder. Chapter 8, Caught in the Frame. The digital clock blinked 11:59 p.m. Maya stood behind the camera, her fingers tight around it, her breathing shallow. Tara sat cross-legged on the bed, watching the chair in the center of the room with wide, unblinking eyes. The tension in the room was unbearable, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Outside, the world seemed to pause. No barking dogs, no passing cars. Just silence. Then, the minute flipped. 12 a.m. The air in the room shifted. Heavier. Colder. The shadows stretched unnaturally along the floor, reaching out from corners that had been empty just moments ago. The light from the lamp flickered once, twice, then steadied dimmer than before. Maya adjusted the focus of the camera, aiming it at the chair. And then it happened. Something began to form in the chair's shadow. Slowly. Silently. A figure. Black as night. Featureless. Faceless. Its head lifted. And though it had no eyes, Maya felt its gaze lock onto her. She gasped, but didn't back away. It was now or never. She pressed the shutter. The flash burst through the room like lightning. For a split second, the shadow reeled back, as if in pain. The figure writhed within the light, its shape rippling like smoke in the wind. The camera clicked, then whirred. A faint hum vibrated through the device as if it had absorbed something more than just an image. And then... silence. The figure vanished. Completely. The shadows returned to normal. The cold lifted. Maya fell back, panting. Her hands were numb, her heart pounding against her chest. Tara rushed to her side. Did it work? Maya didn't answer. She just slowly turned the camera around and looked at the photo on the screen. Her mouth went dry. There it was. The shadow. But this time, it wasn't standing in the photo. It was pressed up against the inside of the image. Its featureless face almost touching the lens, as if trying to claw its way out. A prison. Just like Madame Lena said. I caught it, Maya whispered. I actually caught it. But Tara, staring at the image, didn't look relieved. She looked horrified. Maya, what happens if someone else looks into this camera? Maya froze. Because she didn't know the answer. And that terrified her most of all. Chapter 9, A Glimpse of the Past. Maya didn't sleep that night. She sat in Tara's room, holding the camera like it was a bomb that might go off at any second. Every now and then, she looked at the photo of the shadow trapped inside the screen. It hadn't moved, but it felt like it might. Tara eventually drifted off on the bed, but Maya couldn't shake the thought of what Lena had said. It always finds someone. Someone curious, alone. But she wasn't alone now. So why did she still feel like it was watching her? By morning, Maya had made up her mind. She returned to Madame Lena's shop, the camera wrapped in a thick towel. The bell over the door chimed gently as she entered, and Lena looked up from an ancient book, as if she already knew why Maya had come. You trapped it? Lena asked. I think so, Maya replied, placing the camera on the counter. But I need to understand. Where did this thing come from? Who built it? Lena gave a long sigh and stood, walking toward a dusty cabinet in the back. She pulled out a large, leather-bound book with cracked edges and flipped it open. His name was Dr. Elias Merton, she said. An inventor from the late 1800s. Brilliant, but obsessed with the unseen, spirits, memories, time itself. He believed cameras could do more than capture images. He wanted to photograph souls. Moments lost in time. Maya listened, stunned. He created this, Lena said, pointing to a faded sketch of the exact same camera. The crescent, the eye, even the crooked lens. But during a test, something went wrong. He used it during a séance to photograph a spirit. But the spirit, whatever it was, didn't want to be photographed. It attacked. The camera absorbed it, but it changed. Became cursed. Maya flipped the page. There was a photo of a group of people, Elias Merton among them, smiling stiffly for the camera. But something in the corner of the image caught her eye. A faint figure in the shadows. Dark. Blurred. The same shape she had seen growing closer in her own photos. She looked up at Lena. This thing, it's been haunting people for over a century? Lena nodded. Anyone who uses the camera becomes its new host. Until it's fed, or trapped again. Maya's blood ran cold. So what now? She asked. Lena closed the book carefully. Now, we make sure it never gets out again. But even as she said it, Maya could feel the camera on the counter, vibrating ever so slightly. Almost like something inside had heard them. Chapter 10, The Unwanted Visitor. That night, Maya stayed at home, keeping the camera sealed in a box, hidden under her bed. But something felt off. The lights flickered once. Then twice. Her phone screen glitched and froze on its own. And though she was alone, Maya kept turning around, sure someone was standing just behind her. Then at 3:12 a.m., she heard it. Tap, tap, tap. From inside the box. Frozen in place, she crouched down and slowly pulled it out. The camera was vibrating again, stronger this time. And then came the sound of a photo printing. It clicked. Word. Spat out a picture. Hands trembling, Maya picked it up. It was a photo of her, asleep in her bed. But she hadn't taken it. And in the bottom corner, that same faceless shadow stood by her door. Watching her. She dropped the photo and backed away. It had escaped the frame. Or maybe it never truly left. Chapter 11, The Final Trap. By morning, Maya had made a decision, this had to end. She rushed to Tara's house, photo and camera in hand, her eyes bloodshot from fear and no sleep. Tara opened the door and saw the panic in her friend's face. It's here, Maya whispered. It's not trapped anymore. Tara didn't hesitate. Then let's trap it again. The girls returned to the antique shop, but this time Madame Lena wasn't there. A note on the counter read, "If it escapes, it must be lured. The camera is both a door and a cage." Maya suddenly had an idea. That night, they set up a mirror behind the camera and positioned it toward Maya. She sat in the chair, acting calm, waiting, knowing it always came when least expected. Time ticked by. Then the room darkened. The mirror's reflection warped. And the shadow appeared. Slowly, it moved toward Maya, reaching, stretching. She didn't move. Click. Tara snapped the photo. A burst of light. A high-pitched whine from the camera. And then, silence. Maya blinked. The mirror was empty. The shadow was gone. Tara looked at the photo. This time, the shadow wasn't alone. It was screaming, its arms twisted, as if being pulled inside by something bigger. The camera buzzed once, then died. And for the first time in days, the air felt clean. Chapter 12, The Last Exposure. For the next few days, everything was still. No flickering lights. No strange dreams. No shadow creeping closer. Maya and Tara kept the camera sealed in a wooden box, buried deep in Madame Lena's shop basement, just like the note had advised. They taped the final photo to the inside of the box lid, a reminder of what was trapped within. But Maya couldn't stop thinking about the shadow's last expression. It hadn't just been fear. It had been rage. One night, Tara called her in a panic. "Maya, you didn't use the camera again, right?" Maya blinked. "Of course not." "Then why did someone just post a photo of me, asleep in my room?" Maya's heart dropped. They raced to check the camera. Still sealed. Still cold. Still silent. But something was wrong. A second photo had appeared inside the box. One no one had taken. And this time, the figure in the corner wasn't faceless anymore. It had Maya's eyes. Chapter 13, The New Owner. Months passed. The camera remained buried, locked away in the basement behind spells, salt lines, and silence. Maya and Tara stopped talking about it. They stopped checking on it. They lived. But the nightmare didn't stay buried. One rainy afternoon, the antique shop closed for good. Madame Lena disappeared without warning. The door was locked. The windows were covered in dust. No one saw who entered after. Weeks later, in a different city, in a different little shop, a boy named Ravi wandered in looking for a birthday gift for his sister. He found a camera. Old. Strange. Still working. No price tag. "Looks cool," he said. The shopkeeper smiled but said nothing. Ravi clicked it once and laughed. "Still works." He waited for the photo to print. But it didn't. He turned the camera toward himself and clicked again. This time, it printed. He pulled out the photo, expecting a selfie. Instead, it showed him from behind. And over his shoulder. A faint shadow. Grinning. The end. Or maybe just the next beginning.